the Carolina scene right now in wrestling, man, is on fire. Can you talk about who trained you and talk about the Carolina wrestling scene as a whole?
Yeah. So I got into pro wrestling about two years ago. Um, so I was in a weird point in my life. Like it was after the situation I had with rapping, and I was kind of like, I'm done with this. I really don't want to do this no more. I need to find something else I want to do. After that, I tried skateboarding. I tried like so many different things that I tried to like have as a hobby, and they never like really sticked. Um, but what always stick was wrestling. I always liked watched wrestling. It was always, a part of my week. So it was like, I'm in North Carolina. Let me research. Let me see what I can, find for some wrestling schools. And I found Firestar Pro Wrestling in Greensboro. Um, so when I found it, I didn't immediately like contact them or anything. I went straight into watching YouTube videos. I was like, okay, let me see what they're doing, because I don't want to go somewhere where if I as a fan don't even know what's going on, I as a fan can't enjoy it. I don't really know if I want to train there. But I went
Right.
all the way back to the start of like Firestar history and watched all of it, and it was amazing. Like it was amazing the stuff that they were putting together and like pulling out. So I was like, oh yeah, I had to go out there. I had to try. Then it was hard. It was a really hard year because I trained for a year, and I live an hour and a half away from Greensboro. So I would drive an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back, 3 times a week. You know what I'm saying? Just grinding, and but it ultimately paid off, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to, I have a family now in wrestling, and I wouldn't have it any other way for real.
Oh man, Mister Everything, please ask our esteemed guest one of your questions.
Yes. I mean, you already talked about one of the questions I was going to ask in terms of how that affected you moving from city to city to town. But is there anybody from like any other your old schools that you still connect? Like, do any of them know that you're wrestling? That you're becoming a superstar now? Like, how does that work in terms of that for you?
No, I mean, so before I moved out here, the last place I was at was Colorado, and then right before that was Hawaii. So Hawaii was like end of end of elementary, beginning of middle. Colorado was like middle all through high school, all the way until I moved out here, which was after high school. So um, now, like before middle school, I really don't talk. I never got to connect with those people. I guess it was before before social media and stuff like that. But like Colorado, definitely people I talk to. Some people from Hawaii, some people I connect with, but we don't really talk like that. But Colorado for sure, because I was rapping out in Colorado, so people, yeah, they see me do this and they're like, "What the heck?"
Okay.
You don't hear from a lot of rappers
Uh,
in Colorado. You know what I'm saying? That's so you had to move around just a little bit. You didn't want to be the first one coming out of Colorado. You know,
No, that
that's,
was the goal, though. That was the goal.
that was the goal. Yeah. Let's talk about your music real quick. How did you get into music, and what's your musical influences?
Uh, I got into music. It's a really funny story. So like, um, this was after high school in Colorado. I had moved out of my parents' house and I moved into my friend's house, and I lived in his basement. And like he tried to make music and be a rapper, but he wasn't like very good, and people would like make fun of him. So I was like, man, let me try this. So I wrote a song called Riding, and I put it out on SoundCloud just to see what people thought. And man, people were like, what the heck? This like is fire. You're so good. I was like, bruh, I found it. I found it. And like ever since then, I was making music like nonstop. Like uh, influences growing up, definitely a lot of Meek Mill. Meek Mill growing up. But like Ace Hood, freaking Migos, freaking um man, who else was I listening to for real? I was listening to a lot of a lot of things like that. Now I'd say into rapping, I'd say like Young Thug, Travis Scott, uh, ASAP Rocky was kind of like the what I was trying to tap into mainly.
Okay. So the melodic monotone,
Yeah,
kind of hard hitting
but I
beat.
was more like flowy, like I could sing with it. So like it was going crazy.
You know what's crazy? I was I was doing one of the advertisements for for the show for you, and I picked a Ja Rule song. It's our world, it's our world, and I was like, I don't know if he knows how that song was at that time. I didn't know how you were gonna gravitate to Ja Rule, but Ja Rule actually at that time started the whole. He didn't start it, but he started making famous the singing melodic rapping,
Yeah,
and he got thrashed by everybody saying you rap, you singing, you ain't rapping, and all that. And now the music now has completely transformed to that what he was doing. So I think that's
literally.
really interesting, man. What did you want to accomplish with music at the time when you were doing music?
Um, I wanted to. I felt like a lot of the songs I had made had like I just wanted people to hear. Like I just if people would have heard them, I was like, look, man, I'd have so many fans right now. But like it got to the point where I was in this label, and the head of the label had gotten big. Like he had gotten big and got signed to Interscope and everything. And like he was telling us, we were gonna put you on. He took us to Rolling Loud. He just, we did a lot of different things, and that kind of like fell through. And I was like, look, I'm kind of over this. Like that felt like that was my moment, that was my chance, and it just fell through. I was like, no, I need to find something else. But yeah,
Have you thought about incorporating your and I see it a lot in your character, right? The rapper side. I see a lot. Like you remind me of all my homeboys back home. They got locked up. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but I see a lot of that. I see a lot of that rapping style in that character that you have, man. Are you going to at some point? Integrate those two things, your love of music and wrestling?
I don't know. I don't know. It's been a question that's been asked to me ever since I started training. Like, Cozy knew what I did beforehand. So he's like, why don't you just be Young Chronic? Like, why are you trying to But I just feel like wrestling. I want to be known as a wrestler. I want to be known as a good character and a good wrestler. And if I bring the rapping into it, and if I mess up or something, you know what I'm saying, that's kind of gonna hurt my image. Or I'd rather just be known as the guy that's gonna look the part and just I don't know. I probably
Nah,
need to do it. I probably need to just do it. I've been told too many times I need to just do it.
see, that's confirmation right there, man. You might have something with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Chef
Real quick,
Showtime.
that's
Go ahead.
real quick. So with your character now, give us a description of what your character is and how you came up with the name Trey Da Rula. Because I've always picked on you and called you Jason Derulo because it's so
Yeah.
similar. But tell us where the name Trey Da Rula came from and what your character is all about.
So in the beginning of my training, I've had this problem of not knowing who I was in wrestling. Like I knew I wanted to be a wrestler. I knew I wanted to be a character, and I could be a character. I was really good at just being a character, but how could I, turn this into myself? And it was a very weird point in my career, like my debut until about probably like 3 to 4 months in. I was like just Trey Da Rula, just having fun. I didn't really, you know, Trey Da Rula actually came from my dad's girlfriend. It was so funny because like I was thinking of names, and like she just said because I always wanted to use Trey. Trey is my family name. That's because I'm the third, so everybody in my family calls me Trey. So if I wasn't gonna use my original name, I wanted to use Trey. The last name I did not know. I was like, man, I don't know. I don't want to be some normal last name. And then one day I'm on the phone with her. She just said like Darula or Daruler. I think she said Daruler. I said Darula. Darula. Yeah.
Hold up.
Okay. Okay. And then
That's it.
I kind of like like rhymed, you know, like the top Shoota Trey Da Rula. And then once I said that to Cozy and he liked it, I was like, yeah, I kind of found it.
That light bulb came on. This guy.
Yes. So I was like, oh, Da Rula, that's different. Okay. You know, but yeah, I'd never really like the character that I am now. I think it just stems from what I think people see in from me. Like if they looked at me in the mirror, what do they see? You know what I'm saying? If I act a certain way, they gonna think I'm a gangster. They gonna think, oh, this guy. I got these girls. These girls are actually from rapping. I got them from when the label I was in. So I was like, oh, if I bring that into it too, and then I buy a chain, oh man, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look a little bit different.
Yeah. It worked, man, because I think that's what gets a lot of people. Once you start flashing that smile, you know what I'm saying, and you show all the fronts, they're like, oh, okay, this guy